American president who has to be president of all the people and has to recognize those political trade-offs. But your thoughts, sir?
Well, I think that not just sympathy, but clarity. The fact of the matter is that calling the president names, to call him a black mascot or puppet, or talk about his mother, first of all, we would expect someone of Dr. West's stature to go into that. Because even those that would say they want to challenge the president from the left or challenge him to do more for blacks would say, wait a minute, we don't have to get into name calling. There seems to be something other than what we're dealing with policy going on here. The other thing I think is we've got to look at the fact that the president has been the one condemned by Wall Street, and some of their people working for him has had to reach out to Wall Street. So he gets clobbered by extremists on the right that say he wasn't born here, called a mascot by people somewhere out in the stratosphere. I mean, I think that this is not the climate that will help Americans, African Americans, and any other Americans if we're talking about really solving problems.
Yeah, I think the U.S. Chamber of Commerce wasn't exactly cozying up to this president. They wasted him in the last campaign. Your thoughts, John?
Right. Well, I think that, Professor West seems to think that because President Obama is African American and the first African American, that he has some special responsibility to undertake all those things that he thinks the president should undertake, whether it's, helping the poor, incarceration rates, you name it, dealing with Wall Street. Unlike, President George W. Bush or President Clinton or President George H.W. Bush, any of the other presidents, all presidents have this responsibility. But because, well, we know why Professor West is doing this, because he said it in that Truth Dig interview, and it has to do with the fact that then candidate Obama didn't call him back during the campaign.
Yeah. So it's personal.
Yeah, so President-elect Obama didn't give him an inauguration.
Yeah, this is interesting because it seems to me, I want to get into something maybe larger than the black community here. Reverend Sharpton, this president is different than a lot of politicians you've done over your life, and I don't think it has anything to do with ethnicity or race. He isn't a relationship president. He isn't a cozy president who gives phone calls in the middle of the night and says, how you doing? Just called to check up. Why does Professor West think he's that kind of a guy that's going to stay warm and cozy with him and keep up with him? He makes deals, he gets elected, he moves on. That's my thought. Your thoughts?
I think the president is comfortable in his own skin. He deals with life the way he wants, and he's not one of these kind of guys that sits around chewing the rag with you, and that's fine. Yeah. I mean, I've had access to this president, but I've never hung out with him. We're not hangout buddies, and it's fine with me. The issues, we move on where we're moving. We agree or disagree, and sometimes we disagreed. You at the dinner, he spoke for National Action Network and said, you're not satisfied, you're not this National Satisfaction Network, with the National Action Network. So I'm not trying to get him on a cell phone. I don't go golfing with him, I don't golf. I want to see the issues dealt with. It seems like some of these guys want to be his buddy. I don't want to be his buddy. I want to see us move the country forward, and that's what we should be talking about.
Is this Newt Gingrich in the back of the plane? I wanted to be up front.
Yeah, the personal pique. You're gonna throw away your relationship or potential relationship with the President of the United States. You're gonna potentially harm President.
You think calling him a mascot's gonna make him friendly?
I know, right? But
let's take a look. Here's some of this language he used, Professor West. In an interview with Truth Dig, Professor Cornell West said as follows: more and more working people are beaten down, they are world weary, and they're into self-medication. They are turning on each other. They are scapegoating the most vulnerable rather than confronting the most powerful. It's a profoundly human response to panic and catastrophe. I thought Barack Obama would have provided some way out, but he lacks backbone. Now, this is a statement of real anger about the community, obviously. He's talking about the tough neighborhoods and people who do commit crimes against each other out of desperation. Here he is explaining his comments in a somewhat more restrained way on the Ed Show last week. Let's listen.
Well, now, if you have backbone in terms of killing bin Laden, certainly that's backbone as commander-in-chief. I'm talking about backbone for poor children, misabused workers, those unfairly incarcerated, those middle-class folks experiencing downward mobility, and confronting the Wall Street oligarchs and the corporate plutocrats. That's the kind of backbone I'd like to see more of, my brother.
He even goes further, Reverend Sharpton, and you're so much aware of all the language differences and how people say it, but here is it. I think my dear brother Barack Obama has a certain fear of free black men. What is that about?
Well, first of all, let's put it this way. I think that the problems of unemployed and poor and incarcerated that Professor West raised are real problems. And I think that there are problems that we must confront and deal with. I do give the president credit for dealing with the crack sentencing bill that he signed, which deals with a lot of incarcerated people of all communities, but particularly African Americans. But we need to see more. But if you're really concerned about it, you don't go knock on somebody's door and call them a puppet and call them all kind of names, talk about their mom, and then say that I'm concerned about the poor, I want to talk to you. You create a climate that we are trying to create. You rally people, which we've been rallying, and you try to move the agenda forward because we are really sincere about that. Yes, the president and all of us need to do more. Name calling doesn't do that. And to say he's afraid of free black men, I mean, then now we're calling anybody that deals with him not free black men. Well, I would say people that work in academia are not working at institutions that free them. A lot of the plutocrats they're talking about are the ones that own the Ivy League schools they teach for.
I know. I think you're getting back at him here. Let's go back. We'll be right back with Reverend Al Sharpton and Jonathan Capehart.